Today I will discuss about the population composition. This is the topic of population geography. It is the primary concept of population composition. It refers characteristics of population. It may be broadly divided into three types: biological composition, cultural composition, and economic composition. Now we can discuss about the biological composition. It includes racial and ethnic composition, age-sex composition, sex ratio, fertility, and mortality. In the cultural composition, there are education, literacy, marital status, religion, language. In economic composition, we can discuss about working and non-working population, unemployed, underemployed population, surplus labor, economically active, inactive population. Now, the first composition, that is the biological composition. There is a racial and ethnic composition. Here we can see that Caucasoids, they are referred as the white people. Half of the human population of the world, that is the Europeans, Indo-Iranians, and Shemites, they are known as the Caucasoids. Next, the Indo-Iranians, northeast part of the Southwest Asia, they are situated there as northern and central parts of India. The Semites and Hamites, known as the northern and northeastern Africa, and western and southwestern parts of Asia Minor. In the Negroids, they are situated in Africa, Asiatic blacks, southern India, parts of Southeast Asia, and Oceania. Third is the Mongoloids. They are looking like a yellow or brown in color. East and Central Asia, Malaya, Indonesia, they are located there. Population mixed, that is in Latin America, Eurasian area, and whites and Mongoloids. Now we can see that developed countries and less developed countries. In less developed countries, people with pigmented skins, they are looking at black, brown, and yellow. In 1900, 90% of Negro population lived in South Black Belt. In 20th century, large number of Negroes migrated to the north. America is a cosmopolitan country. Now, we shifted to age composition. Age composition affects demographic attributes, that is the fertility, mortality, and migration, social, economic, political structure. Data collected through censuses and regular registration of births, deaths, and migration. Need of age data in the LIC, Life Insurance Corporation, in case of employment, in case of marriage, in case of retirement, and other social economic activities of life, we need age data. So age composition is an important phenomena for population composition. Now age structure, here we can see the age keeping of data, age preferences create concentration of abnormally large number of individuals on certain ages. Now look at this table, India's age structure 2001, and age groups 0 to 9. Here it is shown as the population in percentages, total population, and the rural and urban population, 0 to 14, 15 to 59, and 60 and above. And dependency ratio also here stated. The methods of age analysis. There are primarily three methods: the age pyramids, age groups and age indices. Measures of age structure. We can measure the age structure as age groups. There are three broad age categories, that is the young, adults and aged. Young groups 0 to 9 or 0 to 14 years, they are non-productive and non-reproductive and non-productive. Due to high birth rate, this group is proportionately high in economically less developed countries, where half of the population under 15, but juvenility is below 1/4 in parts of Western Europe due to low fertility. Now the second is the adult age group, that is the belongs to 15 to 59, 15 to 64, 19 to 59 and 19 to 64. These age group can be purposively selected. Economically, these age groups are economically most productive, biologically most reproductive, and support other two groups, that those are the younger groups and the aged groups. This age group is very much mobile age group. They move from one phase to another, and highest in advanced countries, and their number in highest in advanced countries and lowest in underdeveloped ones. Aged group, there is a 60 and over. Majority of females and widows who are non-productive. Now we can see the age pyramid. It is a graphical representation of age structure on a special type of bar graph. We know the bar graph, but this bar graph is horizontal bar graph. The percentage distribution in various age groups can be shown in the age pyramid. Through the age pyramid, you can compare the age structure of two populations. The temporal changes in age structure of a single population can be shown. Less developed countries have broad-based pyramids, whereas developed countries have narrow-based pyramids. So that we can analyze the age pyramid through these phases. Progressive population type. In progressive population type of age pyramid, number of births increases year to year. Pyramid will widen at the base. Whereas in regressive population type, declining birth narrow at the base and has the shape of a bell-shaped pyramid. This is the regressive type of population type. Now, the age indices. This is represented cartographically on a map. Make regional comparison of age structure. We can compare age structure. Various ratios involving the three age groups from several age indices. There are number of age indices, that is the 7 number of age indices. In the first, there is a young per adults, young per adults and aged, aged per adults, young per aged, and aged divided by young plus adults, and 6 is the aged divided by young, and 7 is the young plus aged and the adults. This is the last one, that is the 7, young plus aged divided by adults, is the most important age indices in age population composition. This is known as the dependency ratio. It provides the number of dependents in the population for working persons. It compares the proportion of a population relatively non-productive ages under 20 and over 60 with those of the working age group, that is the 20 to 59. So this dependency ratio is very high in less developed countries. Now this is the major problem of developed countries, as the population aging. The process whereby the proportion of children in the population decreases and that of old people increases. This is the main problem in developed world. Now, the sex composition. In sex composition, sex ratio means the number of females per 1,000 males. In USA, the sex ratio is high. Primary sex ratio is that there are a number of sex ratio. There is a primary sex ratio, secondary sex ratio, and tertiary sex ratio. In primary sex ratio, we can say that this is the sex ratio at the time of conception. In secondary sex ratio, that is the ratio at the time of birth. And tertiary sex ratio denotes that ratio found at the time of enumeration, when census formation was held. Then in time of enumeration, tertiary sex ratio is counted. You can look at this table. That is the sex ratio in India 1901 to 2011. You can see that in 1901, that is the 972 sex per 1,000 males, 972 females per 1,000 males, whereas in 2011 the sex ratio is slightly decreasing, that's the 940 per 1,000 males. So sex ratio in India is decreasing in trend, we can say. Amongst the state level, the Kerala is the highest sex ratio. It shows that in 2001, that is the 1,058 per 1,000 males. So females number is maximum than males. In Andhra Pradesh, then the next position is Andhra Pradesh, that is the 978, and Manipur 978, Tripura 950, Maharashtra 922, and in West Bengal that's the 934. But this sex ratio, we can, if we go through the temporal changes, that is the 1981 to 2001, we can see the sex ratio in West Bengal is also increasing, and in all the except Maharashtra, sex ratio is decreasing. Otherwise, in all the states here in this table is an increasing trend in sex ratio. Now, why we study the sex ratio? The importance of sex ratio is it affects the labor supply. If proportion of males is higher, then more workers will be available. Next is the excess of males tends to lower the age of marriage for females. Early marriage leads to disparity in age between husbands and wives, which increase and population growth. Early marriage of females lead to increased fertility. And the number 4, affected by sex ratio is very much affected by fertility, mortality, and migration. Adverse sex ratio, that is the proportion of females is small, leads to the emergence of many social and moral evils. Now we can see the marital status. There are 3 types of marital process. That's the monogamy. Here the marriage of one man to one woman, it is a popular one in our society. And the polygyny, the marriage of one man to 2 or more women. And the polyandry, the marriage of one woman to 2 or more men. This is most probably found in the tribal society. And polygyny was the past incident in our past incident of our society. The marriage rates, we can calculate marriage rates. Here the formula is the male divided by the number of, M means the number of marriages. M means here the number of denotes number of marriages during the year. P is the total population at the midpoint of the year, and it is multiplied by 1000. And next is the calculation in next formula, maybe 2m divided by p into multiplied by 1000, the proportion of persons married during the year. Now, the widowhood, in the marital status, there are some other types of status, that is the widowhood. Divorce rate, number of divorces per 1000 inhabitants, a number of divorces to number of married couples, number of divorces to average annual number of marriages in the preceding decade. This way we can calculate the divorce rate. Now we come to the cultural composition. Here religion is one of the most prominent cultural phenomena. That is, the religion means we can say the belief in God. There are some of the approaches. There is the monotheistic approach. This is the belief in a single deity, one deity, and polytheistic. In this approach believe in many gods. Geographers' spatial classification in religion, in cultural composition, that is the universalizing religion. Some of the portions of our world, there is a universalizing religions, that is the Christianity, Islam, and Buddhism, and the ethnic religion, that is the Hinduism, Shintoism, Chinese. These are the ethnic religion, and the traditional religion is the animism. Now there are in language group the Indo-European family. There is a 73% of the total population speaks in this Indo-European family language, and the Dravidian family, 20% of people speak Dravidian family, and there are others, the Austric family known as the Nishada, and Sino-Tibetan family known as the Tiraka. So we can here there are 4 types of language group. The first one, now we study the Aryan languages. The Dardic Aryan languages are in the Kashmiri, Kohistani. The Indo-Aryan languages, these are the Hindi, Bengali, Punjabi. In this group, there are number of other subgroups, that is the Northern Aryan, those language, Nepali, Central and Western Pahari, those are the Northern Aryan. And the Northwestern Aryan, there is Khanda, Kachi, Sindhi, known as the Northwestern Aryan. And the Southern language group, the Marathi, Konkani, and Eastern language group is the Bengali, Bihari, Oriya, and Assamese. East Central, that's the Awadh, Bundelkhand, Chhattisgarh, they have the language that those are the East Central language group. In the Central language group, the Hindi, Punjabi, Rajasthani, Alwari, these are the central portion of India. Now the second group, that is the Dravidian languages. Dravidian languages includes the North, the Telugu, Gandhi, Kurut, Orav, Malay, Parji, Kui. These are the Dravidian. And next is the South, in the Tamil, Kannada, in Karnataka, Malayalam, language in Kerala, Tulu, Ota, Toda. These are the languages of Dravidian groups. The Austric languages groups, we can see that Munda or Kol, there is a tribal language found in the eastern India, and specifically you can see the Chotanagpur plateau area. Mon and Khamar, that is the Khashi, Nokobari, tribal of Meghalaya and Nicobar Islands, they are speaks in this language. they speak in this language. And the Shindo-Tibetan, the Tibet Himalayan region, there are also subgroups. That is the Himalayan group, the Chamba, Lahauli, Lepcha, Khuri. These are broadly spoken Himalayan group. In Bhutia group, that is the Tibetan, Balti, Ladakhi, Sherpa, Shikhi. The North Assam, the Aka, Dapulta, Abo, Miri, these largest speaking, these are the language, and the Misni, Mishing, other groups. In Assam, the Myanmari, Assam Myanmari, the Boro, Naga, the largest speaking is the Chohin, Kurchin, Myanmar. Now, the problems of developing countries in the population related phenomena. Then the developing countries' problems are the fast growth of population. Population are population growth is very much fast, and the large number of unemployment population are increasing. Poor standard of living and malnutrition, mismanagement of agricultural resources, slow growth of industrial sector and orthodoxy, and the problems of underpopulation. People unwilling to forego the amenities of town. Secondly, agriculture required more and harder worker for long period of time, and unfriendly climate or terrain, the topographical conditions, these are affected by disease. The problems in developed countries are long span of life. The population they live lifelong, and small workforce, rural population, and urbanization. These are the problems of developed countries. So we can study the population composition in a broad sense. Thank you.